Hello, Internet Land. This is today's latest episode of the P&J Formula One podcast. I'm your host, Phil Lamington. And obviously, you can't do things like these. You can't have a crash on the main straight without JB, our cohort. JB, how are you, my friend?
You can't have a crash on the main straight without the driver. And that driver is me.
Yes.
Hello.
That's exactly where I was going. I just hadn't written that down.
Hello, Internet Land. What's going on?
So, last night was the Azerbaijan GP from Baku in Azerbaijan.
Mm-hmm.
It was surprisingly a good race. Normally it's in the same category as Monaco, where it's just a procedural snorefest. But it was such a better race this year.
Well, it was a procedural race until about lap 36 when all hell broke loose.
That's true. It had a lot of spice to it, but I was thinking about it while I was at work today. And if you go back to the golden era of Formula One, which is the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
the 80s and the 90s, but particularly the 90s. You know, it was always Mansell winning or Senna winning or Prost winning or, whatever. But you occasionally got those races where Mansell's tyre would blow or someone would do something stupid and you'd end up with that unlikely person winning the race.
Yeah.
And they're always the most exciting ones because it's not just the same
you
old,
expect.
same old.
Yeah. It's not just Max Verstappen. It's not just Lewis Hamilton. And that's what happened today. Or last night.
Yes. So, as we'll run down the classification here, it should appear on your screen right about now. So in first place was Sergio Perez, who I think he did an amazing job. Seeing he really did fly under the radar.
He did, but you know what? It's the thing we've been saying all year is he needs to be the tail gunner
And
to Max Verstappen, and he did it.
He
did it.
He did it.
He did it. He drove brilliantly. He got his car in a good spot, and even with a botched pit stop, still got out ahead of Lewis to give Max the cover that he needed, and he drove the wheels off it. He did great.
And then when Max crashed out, he took over.
Inherited the lead.
He took over the lead, and he won the race.
He held it.
He did what, I hate to say it, but what a number two driver is supposed to do. If the number one driver drops the ball for any reason, he has to pick up the pieces. And he picked up the pieces and then some.
And that is exactly what Christian Horner brought him into the team to do.
That's what the team has been looking for since Daniel Ricciardo left.
Exactly, and they got it. They knew that Sergio's got talent. He's a proven race winner, and he did it. He showed his talents. He got into that number two spot, and his reward was winning the race when the guys in front of him fell, and
when the chips were down.
And that's what a number two driver does.
Absolutely. So in second place was Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. He drove a really good race too. He flew under the radar. All the attention was on Hamilton and Max.
Mm-hmm.
And even Leclerc, like a lot of attention was on Leclerc.
Yeah, especially he put it on pole, and he was eventually starting to fall back, but Vettel was just always there or thereabouts, like all day. Like I think he was in the top 10 for most of it, but he just snuck his way. He was like a ninja. He just snuck his way up the field, all these awesome overtakes, and it was real good.
Same with third place Pierre Gasly
Yeah,
in the
AlphaTauri.
Like Gasly is really stepping up this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's had a couple of average results, but he's got the car back under him now, it seems like.
Well, as Trollmuller 1 pointed out, every time Hamilton's not on the podium, Gasly is.
There's your fact of the day. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, fact of the day. Ring that bell. Ding, ding.
That's it.
So then in fourth place was Charles Leclerc, who was the pole sitter.
Yeah. Unlucky.
Yeah. Look, we knew he was going to go backwards.
Yeah.
We knew that. But he reckons that he had front wing damage due to hitting that tree that was on the track, that bit of tree.
The tree branch around the back.
Which, if they knew that there was a tree on the thing, shouldn't they have brought out the VSC and got the damn thing off the track?
What were the marshals doing around there? Did they not see it?
I don't know.
That was at least 3 or 4 laps in that race.
Yeah.
Like, if you're at your marshal post and you see something fall on the racing line, especially something big like a tree branch or big enough to be hit at 200 kilometers an hour, don't you radio race control and say, hey, I've got to get this tree branch off the track? Apparently not.
Yeah, well, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, I only saw the glance of it on the TV camera, but it was fairly sizable.
Yeah, well, the only time we really saw the actual tree itself was when they showed the replay of Verstappen cutting that corner.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, very strange. I think that was on the marshals, that one.
But Leclerc did have a really solid day at the office.
Mm-hmm.
He did well.
Yeah, he recovered well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he lost a lot of time when he had his pit stop. I don't know what happened with his pit stop, but he just went backwards because I think he pitted way too early. But I also think his tyres were gone.
Yeah, I don't know how much tyre he used in qualifying, but yeah, he probably burnt through a fair bit of it.
Yeah. And then you had Lando Norris in the McLaren in fifth.
That was a good recovery drive, considering he qualified 6th, but got that 3-place drop because of not coming into pit lane when the red flags came out during qualifying.
I'll try that one again. If I can just comment about the qualifying thing, I think the stewards did make a right decision with that. Like, he should have stopped, but it's also nice to see that the stewards have some kind of a heart and a soul and went, look, he felt it was an unsafe pit entry. He couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And rather than give him the full brunt and give him the full 5 places, they gave him 3.
Yeah, I mean, it was fairly 50-50. He was DRS open down the front straight at like 320 k's an hour.
And as he said, like, by the time the team said to him, yeah, box, it wouldn't have been a safe entry.
Because there was initial confusion on his radio call. It was like, do I stop? Do I come in? And they hesitated. His engineer hesitated. And then by the time his engineer clarified to come in, he was essentially past pit entry anyway.
Yeah.
So by the time he would have, if he had tried to bring it in, he would have been coming in way too hot. Potentially could have wiped the car out on the pit wall.
So, we've got to give credit to the stewards there for showing some kind of leniency.
Yeah, but, that said, there he is in 5th. He was challenging Leclerc at the end for 4th, and Gasly as well. Like, he was those last 2 laps after the second restart, or the restart, he was right there. He was sniffing a podium the whole way home.
Yeah.
It was a really good recovery drive from him. Again, showing a very mature driving style this year.
And then you've got Alonso in 6th.
Yeah, you want to talk about flying under the radar?
Yeah.
I had no idea he finished that high.
I had no idea where he was the entire race.
Yeah, you didn't see much of him.
And then in 7th was Yuki Tsunoda in the Alpha Tauri.
That was well done by him too. He had a difficult weekend.
Yeah.
He had was he one of the ones that pitched it in the wall in, was it practice or qualifying?
Qualifying, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he pitched it into the wall. Yeah, he did. He was the one that pitched it in the wall and caused the red flag in qualifying.
Yeah.
After Sainz had to lock up and miss him.
Yeah.
So, a difficult weekend translated into a pretty solid 7th place from him. So, he's starting to take steps forward in that AlphaTauri as well.
And then you've got Carlos Sainz in 8th in the other Ferrari. Again, he did a pretty good tail gunner job.
Mm.
Yeah,
he was definitely the tail gunner this weekend, though.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
And then Daniel Ricciardo in 9th in the McLaren. His was a good recovery drive as well.
I think he'll be happy with that. I mean, considering Verstappen and Hamilton finished behind him, I mean, he'll take what he can get because he was outside of the points had that not happened. But, yeah, he'll take it. I don't think he was as comfortable as he would have liked, but he's beginning to get there. He did set the fastest time at one point in free practice 1, which was faster than Hamilton's and Verstappen, so he's starting to get there.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you, Fox Motorsport. If you keep putting up these bullshit articles about McLaren trying to screw Ricciardo over or Lando being an asshole to him, and Lando, I apologise. I saw back that your wave was completely unintentional at Monaco, so I apologise to you, mate. Yeah, there's no rift, there's no shit there. Ricciardo's just trying to come to grips with a car, and he's starting to get there now.
And
so lay
besides,
off him.
Fox Sports News is a complete pile of bullshit anyway.
Man, they are like the Drive to Survive of just clickbait articles.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually lost a lot of respect for that corporation as a whole.
It's Rupert Murdoch. What are you expecting?
I mean, even on the rugby league side of things, it's just flushing down the toilet. But yeah, no, happy to see him showing some faith and some improvement in that car.
And then in 10th, we've got Kimi Räikkönen getting another point for the Alfa Romeo.
That's it.
Again, him and Giovinazzi were just under the radar the whole time.
Yeah, they were quietly picking their way up through the pack.
Then we get to the beginning of the shocks.
Mm.
In 12th place is Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Where was he all weekend?
Yeah, he was nowhere all weekend.
Like,
there was a comment mid-race, and it was early. It's like, I can't tell if he's struggling or just unmotivated, but he's driving like crap. And he had nothing. All weekend, he had nothing.
But he's been like this all season.
You know what? Yeah, yes and no. But you know what really pissed him off, and I guarantee it played into his hands. The qualifying, I think it was Q3, where he was the one that had to slipstream Lewis down the front straight. He was the one sent out first to punch a big old hole in the air for Lewis and everyone behind him. So the 0.5 of a second advantage went to his teammate, not him. I mean, yes, that's the job of a tail gunner, but I wouldn't be too happy because I'm pretty sure the favour wasn't repaid.
I actually think it goes back to Monaco. Because, right, Bottas pitted and they couldn't get the tyre off. And in the post-race interview, he said something along the lines, so I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he said, now is not the time to point your finger at one specific person, but, there is a problem, but rather than put the man down, we'll lift him up, we'll make him feel better and just say, it could happen to anyone. Toto Wolff came out and blamed Bottas specifically and said he didn't stop on the right spot.
Yeah, that's rough.
I think, sorry, Toto Wolff, but on behalf of Valtteri Bottas, fuck you.
Yeah.
That is such a bullshit thing, and it just adds to the fact that you, Toto Wolff, are showing yourself this year to be an absolute wanker because your team is not winning the championship. And I will get back to you later, Toto Wolff.
Whew. I mean, yeah, not stopping on your marks has nothing to do with cross-threading a wheel nut, let's be honest. Plenty of people have missed their marks and still got their tyres off.
Thing is, if you watch the footage, he did stop on his marks.
There you go. Balls in your court, Mercedes.
So, in 13th place, shocker number 2, Mick Schumacher in the Haas.
Yes, Mick Schumacher in the Haas again, another one that you didn't see too much TV screen time.
And he had to survive the last lap of his teammate, who came 14th, Mazepin,
Mr. Mazepin,
trying to kill him. On
the front straight, with about 500 metres of the race remaining, does this nice little jink right towards the wall. Nearly, that's an aeroplane crash and a half, isn't it? I mean, we already saw two of them at that spot by that stage, but two teammates coming together at that speed would have been interesting.
That's just it's not even a rookie mistake. That's an arrogant asshole thing.
That's all money and no talent being outdriven
That's
by proper talent.
my dad owns the team.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, nah.
You know,
I've already said my piece on him. I don't need to bury him anymore.
I just feel really sorry for Gunther Steiner, who's got to sit there and say to Mazepin, yet again, knock off your shit.
Yeah, but Mazepin doesn't have to, because who's paying Gunther Steiner's bills?
Yeah, that's right.
His dad.
So then in 15th, you've got
the biggest shocker of all,
Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah,
he all weekend he had a rather average weekend. Like
his car didn't have overall pace. No,
like it was almost like the car was set up for straight line speed.
Oh, it was. It definitely was.
And then in the corners, it was just defeated by the baseball bat of plot. Like that's how Leclerc, for at least 1.5 laps, 1 3/4 laps, was able to hold off Hamilton.
Yeah.
It was because the Ferrari does not have the top end speed, but it had the handling capability, or at least until Leclerc hit the tree.
Yeah.
So Hamilton had to rely on top end speed down the main straights.
Yeah, and even more so to the handling of the corner. Both Red Bulls, were leagues ahead of him in the back sectors of the track. I mean, you take away the DRS down the front straight, and that Mercedes was outgunned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Red Bull had the perfect setup. Like, it was balanced. Whereas the Ferrari was more balanced towards the handling because it knew it didn't have the power advantage. But the Mercedes just seemed to go for, we'll just gun it down the straights and we'll just, it'll be okay, to quote the critical drinker. I didn't do my Scottish accent there. It'll be okay. Down the in the corners, it just didn't have anything. It wasn't planted, and it just looked like a lemon in the corners. So you had to rely on straight end speed. But if you look at Hamilton's entire weekend, like FP 1, 2, and 3, he was nowhere. Like, just not in it. And then he changed out his front wing for qualifying to a low downforce wing. And then he was Q2. He was P2.
Yeah.
And the other reason, really, that Leclerc got pole position, besides a couple of accidents, was because he got the tow from Hamilton.
Yeah, he played the game. He played the game.
He outsmarted Mercedes.
Well, that's what Bottas was out there for, supposed to be helping Lewis with the tow, but yeah, it didn't work. I mean, yeah, it still got him on the front row, did it not?
True.
But yeah.
But then you get to the race, and he seems all fine and everything until the restart, and then he makes a rookie error, hits a wrong switch, and he just goes from the penthouse to the outhouse.
He shows that he's human, but he did blame his equipment, so we'll see. I believe him. He apparently he hit a toggle that moves the brake bias from centered to the front tires, which is what you're supposed to do.
Did you just do the noise that Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy does?
Not intentionally.
Yeah, you gotta stretch them legs.
You just did the.
I got a lollipop in my pocket.
Yeah, no, not intentionally. Certainly not intentionally. Yeah, no, he bumped a switch that moves the thing forward and locked his front tires. Apparently,
just to go on the fact that Hamilton, like you just said, Hamilton is human. We are human. That's why we inject funny shit into these things. We're not like Aldas, who's just a parasitic leech who sucks off Lewis Hamilton's dick.
Look at you, still beefing with the other YouTubers. This is good.
Yeah.
It's your water fight, mate.
Yeah, well, he doesn't know about us, so fuck him. 16th place was Nicholas Latifi. I keep wanting to call him Latifi Peg. Like, whenever I talk to my dog and she shows her teeth, I'm like, oh, are you showing your teethy pegs? It's Latifi Peg.
Latifi Pegs.
In the Williams, he was 42 seconds off the lead, so...
That was after 2 laps. Keep in mind, they all went at the same time with 2 laps to go. He lost 30 seconds in 2 laps. That's not good. What happened to George Russell?
I don't know.
Down in 17th. 3 laps.
We've got the journalistic integrity.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened.
Chris
to him.
Kamara right here. What happened to George Russell?
I don't know, Jeff.
I don't know, Jeff. I don't know, John.
3 laps down. Did he...
Yeah, but how can you be 3 laps down when we restarted with 2 laps left?
Did he crash?
I'm guessing they retired the car because it was a Williams.
I don't know. George Russell, if you're listening, can you tell us what happened?
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened to you. I just know he was it qualifying where his car almost didn't make it out. I think it was. They had some sort of gremlin in qualifying, and he only just made it out for Q1.
Oh, yeah, because the red flag bought him more time to fix the engine because he had a water pump.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe the water pump went again.
Yeah. And then in 18th was Max, race leader for the majority of the race, Max Verstappen in the Red Bull.
The unluckiest man of the day. Had it in the bag.
I think he hit debris on the main straight caused from the person who is next on the list, Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
When Lance Stroll crashed, and it was still a bit of carbon fibre on the track, and it just popped his tyre.
Yeah, it's desperately unlucky for both of them, to be honest.
And they also reckon they found a big gash taken out of Hamilton's tyre as well, separate from the flat spot. So he might have hit carbon as well, and it's put a big chunk out of it, but didn't pop his tyre, luckily for him.
Yeah, or else it would have been... That's dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, we already condemned the marshals enough that it was dangerous enough that tree branch was there 4 laps into the race, but they didn't clean that debris up enough to stop Verstappen's tyre exploding at 300 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
It's a bit dangerous.
And then finally was Esteban Ocon, Mr. Personality in the Alpine. He retired, I think, lap 3 or something. Like his engine let go.
Yeah, his engine went pop. Went to that weasel.
So don't buy a Renault. Just saying, just throwing that out there. Whoops, sorry. So as I talk to the floor, not to the microphone, because I'm so professional at these things.
That's it.
So we go through the race for all those who haven't seen it. So, and if you're not capable of getting on YouTube, well, what am I saying? If you're on YouTube, you're listening to this because it's on YouTube. So if you're listening to this, you can clearly go and watch the damn highlights.
It's probably under suggested videos right now, to be frank. Also, you can also check it out on JB Sports Corner on Facebook. Give it a follow. All your sports news.
Also, check out the previous episodes of the podcast if you're new to it. Make sure you click the ring the bell, click subscribe, throw a thumbs up, leave a comment.
Naughty, nasty comment.
Send us an Amazon gift card, JB Hi-Fi gift card, a box of chocolates, preferably Ferrero Rocher. Anything else you want to throw at us that is not a big black rubber dildo or a vibrator. We don't really want them. But anything else you want to throw at us, we'll happily accept it. Sponsorships would be nice.
Yeah, like an actual McLaren.
Money
would be nice.
Cash money would be swell.
Yeah, I want to be one of those YouTubers that just get paid to do nothing.
You know, we haven't been paid at all for this.
What a rot!
What?
I thought
YouTube,
this is how it worked.
YouTube, what are you doing? Give us our damn money, you skeeving, thieving bastard.
I'm giving you my Monday afternoons, and you're giving me nothing. See how this works.
We're giving you chicken salad. You're giving us chicken shit, mate. What's going on?
I think it's the other way around.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I see it your way. So on lap one, you start off with Charles Leclerc on pole. Lap 2, he lost the lead to Lewis Hamilton.
To your point, the straight line set up because he did it without DRS. And also, little fun fact of the day, the pole sitter of every Baku Grand Prix has led the first lap every time. And they've never been jumped by the second place man. So Charles Leclerc continued that tradition for a lap and a quarter.
Nice. So in lap 6, Max Verstappen finally passes Charles Leclerc. And then the very next lap, Sergio Perez passes Leclerc. Lap 11, Carlos Sainz goes off and Hamilton pits. And he is held up in the pits because there's another car going by.
One of the AlphaTauris.
And he bitches on the radio about why am I in the pit box for so long, because he seems to think that he is the only one he can use the pit lane.
Give way to Lewis.
Yeah, everyone just stop and we'll form like a what's those things with
just get one of those
honor guard. We'll form an honor guard for Lewis Hamilton so he could drive out of the pit.
At the start of the pit lane, there's the 60-kilometre-an-hour board, and above it's the give way sign, but it's Lewis Hamilton's face. So just get out of his way because apparently he owns the joint. Just ask him; he'll tell you.
It's got 60 pit board, and then it's got if you're Hamilton 100.
Yeah, Hamilton infinite. Yeah, because he owns it. Just ask him.
And then lap 13, Max pits and gets out in front of Hamilton.
Yeah, 1.9 second stop as opposed to a 4 second stop, and that was all the difference.
And then the next lap, Sergio Perez pits, and he has an issue that also led to him being around a 4 second pit stop, and yet he still managed to come out in front of Hamilton. Yeah, that was
probably the most crucial moment of the race, was Perez, despite having a sticky, I think it was a rear left, going on or coming off. 4 second stop, still got out ahead of Lewis, and then was just all that cover that Max needed to get on with his race.
Yeah. It
was good.
And then we fast forward to lap 31 when Lance Stroll's tyre pops and he hits the wall on the pit entry. Like before the pit entry. It's not still on the main straight.
Yeah, coming out of that slalom chicane, and the dude's hooking at must be 330 km an hour.
He was doing 200 mile an hour for all those people who don't use the metric system.
His left rear lets go, pops apparently, because do we assume he hit the aforementioned tree branch as well?
Well, that's what some people are saying. And so he hit the wall, and where the car ended up was blocking the pit entry.
Yeah, so that brought out the safety car. He was very shaken up after that, actually.
And no one could pit. They closed the pit lane.
Yeah.
Because of where his car was parked.
I mean, yeah, that sucks for people that wanted to take advantage of it, but it also evened up the playing field in that no one could pit.
Yeah, that's right. And then lap 35, the safety car came back in, and Sebastian Vettel overtakes Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, up into, I think it was 4th at that stage.
Yes.
Just jumped him. Just showed that, he loves the track, the car likes the track, and he, the stars were aligning.
He is starting to hook up with that car a bit.
He's hooking up with the car, and it's a track he likes, and he was up there fighting with the big guns.
And then the very next lap, Vettel overtook Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri.
Mm-hmm.
So he was
on the podium at that stage.
He was Vettel was having a great day at the office.
Yes.
Then we fast forward 10 laps to lap 46. And Max Verstappen crashes on the main straight after his rear tyre popped.
Left rear as well, and apparently he hit the debris left by Lance Stroll's crash.
I mean, it is easy for the marshals to miss things. Like, it could have been just a small little chip,
That's all it has to be.
but you know, it's easy to point your fingers at the marshals and say they didn't do a very good job. I mean, they probably did a very good job.
I think that is the exact reason why Lance Stroll's crash was a safety car, but then Max Verstappen's was a red flag. Because they would have got out there then, realised they hadn't done a good enough job, and got the street sweepers out and done a proper job, instead of just letting them trundle it around under safety car.
But I also think it was all over the main straight, because it was all over near the grid.
Yeah.
So if they had gone out with a safety car, the safety car would have had to have driven through the pit lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that exit to the pit lane is a tight exit, so it would have been questionable. So I think they made the right decision by red flagging the race.
Yeah, it was certainly two of the bigger crashes we've seen this year.
Yeah.
Certainly on the high end of the speed spectrum as well.
So then we fast forward to lap 50 out of 51. Was it lap 50 when they did the restart?
It was, yeah, pretty much, because there was 2 laps to go.
Yeah. So then they did the restart, and Hamilton places hands around neck and proceeds to choke and perform a bottle job as he sends himself into the shadow realm. He was on pole position for the restart and flipped the switch that...
He was on P2. Sergio was on P1.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Sergio just outbraked him, and then Lewis realised he was going to be outbroken, and apparently had... And let's not forget, his brakes were literally on fire on the grid.
Yeah.
And that's a Mercedes with a history of brake failure issues.
Yeah.
It's probably their one Achilles heel, is brake issues and overheating engines.
Yeah.
And that was one of the two. And yeah, apparently on his formation lap, there's a setting on the steering wheel that allows you to have 100% front brake bias. So you can use the residual heat from the brakes to warm up the actual tyre, which is all well and good while you're doing 100 kilometres an hour or whatever. But when you're doing 150 kilometres an hour and trying to get underneath a Red Bull, and you accidentally knock that switch back on, and you go foot to floor with brake pedal, and you pinch the inside left, not so good.
You have booked yourself an express ticket to the Shadow Realm.
That's it. Straight down the escape road of turn 1, straight out of the points, and his, 54 races, 54 consecutive races scoring points, came to an end in about 150 metres.
And Aldas was crying. Anyway, so that meant that Sergio Perez got the lead, hung on to the lead for the rest of the race, had a nice ding-dong battle for the last couple of laps between Gasly, Leclerc and Norris. That was a really interesting battle. I mean, it only went for 2 laps. But
Sort of a shame it only went for 2 laps, because that was heating up.
yeah, but I mean, it showed the class of all 3 drivers. They
Showed the class of the midfield this year.
Yeah.
How tight it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And AlphaTauri's up in that fight now, and
Yeah.
it's good. And Aston Martin too, obviously.
Yes. I mean, it's nice to see even Alfa Romeo got a point.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
And Alpine got a couple of points.
Yeah, Alonso had it up there. It was good.
And it just made it a more interesting race, just seeing other people having a go.
Yeah, you shuffled the deck a bit. You put the cards in the card shuffling machine and drew out some random numbers, and it was good.
Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't just another run-of-the-mill Hamilton from Verstappen from Bottas.
Yeah.
It was good.
And Max Verstappen had the fastest lap at the end of the race, but because he crashed out and was not in the top 10, he does not get the bonus point.
He does not. And you know the craziest thing about Sergio Perez winning the race is what he actually said after the race. was Christian Horner and his engineers was going to retire him midway through the race because they were actually having hydraulic issues.
Wow.
Yeah, they were having hydraulic issues halfway through the race. And then I think once he jumped Hamilton coming out of the pit stop, they just like, screw it, go to the end, see what happens. And lo and behold,
He gets the win.
he gets the win.
Yeah, it was a great drive by him. Sebastian Vettel got driver of the day, which I think was deserved. I mean, you could
Is
give
that
it
two
to
in a row?
Yes.
Yeah, good man.
You could give it to him. You could give it to Perez. You could give it to Gasly.
You could give it to maybe.
You could give it
You
to
probably
anyone.
could give it to Leclerc.
You could give it to anyone in the top 10. It was,
No,
or if it was Aldas, he'd give it to Hamilton.
I think the correct guy got it. I think
Yeah.
Sebastian drove the wheels off it.
Yeah.
Certainly anyone in that top three. I mean, Sergio did his job. Pierre Gasly drove the wheels off the AlphaTauri. Sebastian Vettel, but yeah, I think it was Vettel's day. He did very well.
So, now we get to the point of the podcast where I'm going to ask JB some questions.
Oh, here we go. That's what I'm here for.
So
Answering questions.
I think we talked about it last podcast episode, but I think this race really highlights something. Do you think Bottas has a future at Mercedes? I don't think he does. Even though they said they're having contract talks with him. We've heard Ferrari say that last year to Sebastian Vettel and then turn around and go, "Oh no, we don't want you anymore."
Yeah.
Bottas hasn't done himself any favours this season.
He hasn't done himself any favours at all this season, and certainly not last night. Yeah, I mean, if Toto's ready to bring up George Russell, then the time is now. The time is the end of this year.
George Russell's contract with Williams ends at the end of this year.
If Toto wants to make the call, I'm not against it.
No, the only problem you're going to have is that Russell is not going to want to be a number two. If he's in team with Hamilton, you're going to have Prost and Senna.
Yeah, I mean, Hamilton's already committed to next year.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they'll probably extend Bottas into next year too, because I don't think Toto wants to be able to. I mean, remember Toto's been George Russell's sort of mentor manager for a while, and to have a clash of interest between Golden Boy Lewis and young protege George Russell might be a bit tough. But if Bottas doesn't have a future at Mercedes, this coming off season will be the time to move him on if he doesn't improve.
I think he'll go back to Williams.
Time will tell. I mean, that's all on Toto.
There's a lot of pieces though. Like if Raikkonen decides to retire at the end of the season,
I think that's already confirmed, isn't it?
I have no idea.
I think it's confirmed. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see it when it comes out of the Iceman's mouth.
That's it.
So my next question has to do with Pierre Gasly. Where do you think the future lies for Pierre Gasly?
Does he want to go back to Red Bull?
No.
All right.
He's never going to go back to Red Bull. He's only at AlphaTauri because they needed someone at AlphaTauri. Helmut Marko will not have him back at the main team.
I think he's where his future is. I don't think he's going to leave AlphaTauri. I know AlphaTauri's and Toro Rosso essentially has been used as a young driver program. I don't think Gasly's going to leave AlphaTauri. He's probably established himself as the number one driver there. He's certainly talented enough to drive elsewhere, but where do you put him? I mean, Ferrari's going to have Leclerc and Mick Schumacher eventually.
Mm-hmm.
McLaren's pretty much settled. Norris, I think, just signed a contract extension.
Yeah.
To the end of 2025.
Yeah.
Ricciardo, I guess if Ricciardo doesn't get comfortable, maybe, possibly, Gasly could go there. if Ricardo chooses to move on, which I hope he doesn't, but he's got a 3-year contract there anyway.
Well, Ocon's contract with Alpine is up at the end of this year.
Assume the Alpine gets good, becomes a competitive car, a more competitive car. You know, French driver at a French team makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. But they've already got that with Ocon.
Well, you can have Ocon and Gasly if Alonso moves on. I don't think Alonso's going to be in this sport long. I give him 2 years.
Yeah, I think he'll be gone at the end of next year.
Yeah, so you could have 2 French drivers at a French team, no worries. But I don't think Gasly would have any intentions of moving on from AlphaTauri at this rate, at this stage.
But then that brings
why
the
would
question,
he?
That also brings the question, though, because we know AlphaTauri is the number 2 team, right? And is an old sort of wrestling saying that Taz used to say in WWE, if you're not in it to be world champion, you shouldn't be there. And I think it's the same thing here. Like, I don't think he wants to sit at AlphaTauri for the rest of his life. He wants to move forward on the grid and get to a team where he can.
That's the same. You got 20 drivers that want that, and only 4 drivers at most is going to get that.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone can drive a Red Bull, and not everyone can drive a Mercedes. It's up to the car to get better for you.
Yeah.
You know, there's only, we got Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren. So there's 8 seats. There's 8 seats, championship contending seats out of, that's
Out
3?
of 20.
Yeah, out of 20 seats. That's like not even half the grid. Like, no, it's up to your team to make your car a championship winning team, because everyone's going to get that opportunity. You know, and Gasly, to that point, the AlphaTauri is as good as it's ever been.
Yeah.
Even going back to the Toro Rosso days, like the AlphaTauri, this is as good as that car's ever been.
Yeah.
You know, this car could be a contender in next year and the year after.
Yeah.
You know, I think Gasly should stick it out and see what happens.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my final point in my notes I've got here, the final question I wanted to ask you, but I think I'm going to stick something else in here, has to do about the flex wings.
I'm not an expert in this area, but
I think, not talking about the wings flexing themselves, I mean, like, neither of us are experts, and to be honest, to the naked eye,
you can't tell.
I can't see it. There's no difference.
Yeah.
What I'm liking it, but I'm not liking it at the same time, is the mudslinging, arrow throwing between Toto Wolff and Christian Horner.
What do you expect? It's like the mudslinging that's going to come this week between Queensland and New South Wales.
But
you've got 2 contenders going for a championship.
I suppose here's my question that's a little bit more refined then. Do you think Toto Wolff is whinging about the flexing of the wings because the pressure is getting to Mercedes that they're not the top dog at the moment?
Without question. Without question. Of course they are. They're trying to get under Red Bull's skin and try and get the psychological advantage back, because they don't have it at the moment.
And that's something that overall has been annoying me about this season, is we've had Toto Wolff and Otmar Zafnauer. So the two of the 3 teams that are running, or 2 of the 4 teams, sorry, that are running Mercedes, whinging about other teams having things that they don't have.
That sounds oddly familiar.
And the other teams, like Christian Horner, just flat out told Toto Wolff to shut up, and that he's a windbag.
That's it. I mean, let's go back to the elephant in the room here. If you want to talk about teams whinging about what they have and don't have, this is the same car that ran the DAS system last year.
That's right.
The now banned DAS system that was for 1 season only legalized, and then miraculously, before any other team could develop their own, banned.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about having an advantage or not having an advantage? Mercedes literally had a dual access system that no one else had access to.
Yeah, and the thing is that teams were whinging about Ferrari's engine from 2019. And so Ferrari paid the price by having an abysmal 2020 with a motor that was, honestly, you could put a hamster in a wheel and it would have gone faster than that Ferrari engine last year. But they took it on the chin. They went, no one can prove that we've done something wrong. They know something's wrong. We can't prove it, but we will take it on the chin. We will do, acquiesce to what the FIA are saying and get on with our day. Mercedes comes out with the DAS system, which, to my opinion, was illegal because it was a driver aid. No different from having traction control, but because the FIA, just like ALDAS, like to sit there and suck off Mercedes, gave them what they wanted, and then banned it for the next season. Should have been banned outright from the kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, Mercedes kept it real quiet too. They didn't say anything about it until they picked it up at testing. It's like, hey, how come you can move your hands back and the wheels straighten? What's that?
Yeah, it's just...
And like they played dumb about it until they were caught. And then like, well, yeah, this is what it is.
And now you've got pardon me, you've got Toto Wolff complaining about both Red Bull and Ferrari having flexing wings, and Christian Horner's just sitting there going, but your front wing is flexing.
Yeah.
You can't say jack, and you had DAS. The only reason why you're pissy is because it's not working in your favour, just like how Toto, and more specifically Otmar Zafnauer, were complaining about the floor earlier in the year because, the high rake.
Yeah, the rake angles.
They were complaining about the rake angles because they hadn't thought of it. Was seeking clarification. Bull fucking shit. You're pissy because you didn't think of it.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what McLaren's defense was. Their gearbox extension at testing, those rear rakes or those rear diffuser things off the back of the gearbox. It's like, you're pissy at it because you want clarification. It's legal.
Yeah.
You're pissy because you didn't think of it. And, the FIA put all those dots over the rear wings of the cars to test their flex this weekend as well. So we'll see what the findings of that is.
But then it also brings the thing of... so they put the dots on for practice 1, 2, and 3, I think. But they weren't there during qualifying.
Yeah.
Because of free practice 1, 2, and 3, Hamilton was not doing well. And then before qualifying, he swaps his front wing out for a low downforce front wing. For me, that just rings alarm bells of they were trying to hide something. I know most people sit there and say, he's just changing something so he can get his car balance right, blah, blah, blah. But you've had 3 practice sessions to get this right. And you wait until qualifying, and then once you put it on qualifying, your car goes like a rocket. After you've sat there and whinged about other teams having flexible rear wings, and it gets investigated a little bit, it just seems like it's... I don't know, it just seems like Mercedes is sitting there trying to throw the wool over the FIA.
They're trying to get that tactical advantage back because they've been caught. They've finally been caught. It's taken 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
They've finally been caught and they're panicking because they know they've finally been caught. Red Bull's finally got them.
They were panicking in 2018 as well when Vettel was leading. Yeah. And then Ferrari lost it because Vettel was just performing bottle jobs on himself and just gave it back to them. And they went, we can relax now. and they went the wrong direction aerodynamically.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
the one thing I'll say, despite today's result, Verstappen's not going to bottle this.
No.
I don't think Verstappen's going to bottle this. They should be running scared because Max isn't going to choke like Seb did.
No.
They're in a faster car. He's in a faster car, and he's a maverick.
Max,
Like, he's so great to watch.
Max looks like, in previous years, he's looked like a GP2 driver. Like, outside of the car, as a person, he's looked like a GP2 driver who's in a Formula 1 car. Now he looks like a fierce, determined Formula 1 driver who wants that world title.
He is fast. He is confident. He is in the better car. He's brazen. He doesn't bow to Hamilton's pressure. And Mercedes know that.
And they're scared.
And they're scared. And they should be.
Yeah. And the other thing I've noticed when it comes to this flexi wing malarkey is, like, McLaren, Zach Brown from McLaren has asked for clarification about it, and he just wants it to be looked at. He's not being an arse like Toto Wolff.
No, he wants it to be looked at because he wants to implement it.
Yeah.
Same thing as when Christian Horner asked about the DAS system. And then when the FIA said, yeah, it's legal for this year, he was actually starting to develop his own, but it wasn't long enough. The season wasn't long enough to perfect it.
Yeah.
So I think this is Zach Brown asking for clarification because if it's fair for one, it's fair for all.
Well, that's right. And the most unlikely team who really hasn't said anything about anything since 2019. They've shut the fuck up about everything. Mattia Binotto is backing up Christian Horner
About
the flexi wings.
Yeah, right.
And I think Binotto came out and said, no, it was the team principal of Alpine who said pretty much every team on the grid except for Mercedes has flexible wings. But they're flexible inside the FIA standard.
So where's the grey area? Is it how much they're flexing?
Well, yeah, that's where the grey area is Toto Wolff thinks that they're flexing too much outside of the FIA-approved level of flex.
Is this for the rear wings or the front wings? Because they tested the rear wings. That's what those dots were.
Yeah, the rear wing.
But if Red Bull's counteracting Mercedes by saying the front wing's too flexible,
yeah,
is the FIA going to test their front wings?
Yes.
Okay.
But here's the thing is, so Christian Horner said to Toto Wolff, where are they flexing too much? And it's
Did Toto give him an answer?
yeah, when they open the DRS.
Right.
It's flexing too much when they open the DRS.
Okay. How's that an issue?
And yet, this is the funny thing, was I caught a little bit of like the post qualifying thing. Now this was rather late and I was rather tired on Saturday night, so there could be a wrong thing here. But when they actually broke down the flexing on the DRS rear wing, it actually looks like the Mercedes one is flexing more than the Red Bull.
That's hilarious. That's someone covering their tracks, isn't it?
That's
getting the old pine brush out in the snow and wiping your boot tracks away. Ooh, look, the distraction. Don't look at my car. That's mind games and psychology and shenanigans, and that's what teams under pressure do.
Yeah.
And Mercedes is under pressure now.
And Toto Wolff, just...
I get it, though. Like, he's under a lot of pressure, and, he wants to...
Well, he even said in Drive to Survive, he said that, we've got the rules, but our job is to find the space, the grey area in those rules and exploit it. That's how you get an advantage.
There's no better team at that than Mercedes, is there?
Yeah, well, yeah.
And Red Bull's probably a close second, so there you go.
Yeah, well, people will point their finger and say Ferrari as well, but it's never been quite so blatant as Mercedes, and it's been the entire hybrid turbo era has been Mercedes exploiting stuff.
Just finding little things to, yeah.
The whole turbo hybrid era is here because Mercedes and Honda said we will not stick around in Formula One, or in Honda's case, rejoin Formula One if you don't make it V6 turbo hybrids.
They got their wish, and now they're 1 and 2 in the championship.
Yeah.
No, it's just mind games at this point.
You know,
It's Mercedes realizing they've been caught, and Red Bull trying to keep whatever advantage they still have.
but then it goes back to my point earlier where Toto Wolff was trying to point the finger at Bottas for a wheel nut stripping. What kind of an arsehole sits there and blames the driver because the wheel nut's stripped? Oh, he parked it in the wrong spot. What's parking it in the wrong spot got to do with the wheel nut stripping?
Yeah, that's I've seen plenty of drivers overshoot their marks and the wheel come off just fine. That was just a freak accident.
Yeah.
That sounds like a dude that's
and-
under pressure and just not really
and,
being as
like,
graceful.
Bottas should be the one under pressure because he's the one who's not performing that well.
Yeah.
And yet he was the one saying, we shouldn't point our finger at that one guy and say, you stuffed up or anything. We should be sitting there going, hey, it's a freak accident. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
And trying to maintain a positive attitude in the public eye and everything, and within the team. And then Toto Wolff comes out and says, "Oh, he stuffed up the pit stop. Bottas stuffed up the pit stop. Bottas didn't stuff up jack shit."
That's a team that's going to implode if this keeps up. Which is probably exactly what Christian Horner and Max Verstappen want.
Christian Horner, Mattia Binotto, Franz Tost, Zach Brown, they're all just sitting there. The only ones who'll be sitting there going, by gosh, I hope Toto Wolff doesn't lose his plot, is Lawrence Stroll and Otmar Zafnauer. Because they're Toto Wolff's B-team stooges.
That's it. I mean,
Wow, I'm on a real roll with shooting on stuff tonight.
wow, you're just going off. I'll just let you keep going.
Yeah, it's just
Anything else? Anything else you want to blow up at while we're here?
Mazepin.
I've done my piece on
Just
Mazepin.
Mazepin. How does he not have more points on his license? Like, how come? Like,
Do they have to be actual, like, I don't know, do the stewards go back and deem that as dangerous driving post-race?
If they don't, then they should be fired too.
Yeah.
That is one of the most dangerous things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you don't block a teammate of all people at 350 kilometers an hour. I know there was only 500 meters of the race left and you were trying to defend 13th. If you were 0 points for 13th as opposed to 0 points for 14th. But, I guess it's inter-team bragging, right?
If there was points, maybe. If there was points on the line, but there was no points on the line.
No, man, it's all money and zero talent. I've said it from the start.
Yeah, it's just absolute nonsense. And he's doing it on a race-by-race basis.
Yeah,
It's just useless behind the wheel.
absolutely.
And yet his idiot father is bankrolling him. Everyone sits there and puts crap on Lance Stroll and sits there and says, oh, his dad's bankrolling and daddy bought him a team and whatever. At least Lance Stroll has got some kind of talent. This Mazepin lunatic,
He's not showing improvement either, which is more concerning.
and what's worse is that Lando Norris has got 8 points on his super license.
Yeah,
If he gets 12,
he gets a race ban.
he gets a race ban. Mazepin only has like 4. How?
How long do these points accrue for?
A year.
I'm going to have to go back. What the hell has Lando done in the last year to, get himself 8 points?
I think some of the points start going from September.
Yeah, right. Interesting. I mean, I know he got in trouble for blocking and qualifying a few times, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, Mazepin, Blocks everyone in qualifying, blocks everyone in practice, blocks everyone in races, tries to put his teammate into the wall,
Yeah.
interferes in race results. He is just a four-wheeled clown.
Yeah.
Someone has put him in a clown car with a clown costume and said, go out there and be a fucking clown. And it's just,
Yeah, but the thing is, you're not going to get rid of him for a while.
No.
'Cause
Well,
Dad's got the
his
big-
old man's buying the team off Gene Haas anyway. We all know it.
Yeah, probably.
But, oh, God,
Look,
get him.
the good news is Mick Schumacher will be gone by then.
Oh, look, if Kimi Räikkönen retires, Schumacher needs to get away out of that team and get into an Alpha. Well, actually, I'm mid-sentence when I'm sitting here thinking, if Schumacher goes to Alpha Romeo, Mazepin's not going to stop from putting him in the wall. He's not going to think twice about putting him in the wall. He's going to be, well, he's not my teammate, so I'm just going to put him into the wall like it's.
You could say the same for about 19 other drivers too. It's not going to stop him putting anyone in the wall. Look, my best hope for him is that he just learns to become a better driver over the course
all
of
I'm
this
going to
season.
say is this, right? I hope Mazepin does something stupid like put Kimi Räikkönen into the wall, or Fernando Alonso, or Max Verstappen. Put him
God,
into
could
the
you
wall.
imagine we put Verstappen in the wall?
That's my point.
You get
Do it
punched in the
to
face.
one of the top guys or one of the old guys that's been around for a long time, and see how long you live.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look what Verstappen did to Ocon at
Yeah.
Brazil.
Yeah, shoved him.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, he deserved it.
Cost him the race.
Yeah.
Cost him the race. Yeah.
Could you imagine if Mazepin was around, say, Senna's time? Oh, wait, we did have something like that. De Crasherus.
Yes. Chezerus.
Yeah.
Crashers.
De Crasherus. Oh, imagine if James Hunt was still doing commentary now. Oh,
Rip shreds off him.
Mazepin, mate. You have shreds taken off you.
Well, there was that YouTube video we watched where they tried to justify Mazepin's spot in Formula One. He hasn't really done himself any favours in the junior categories either. Like, he didn't set the world on fire coming up. He wasn't an F3 champion or an F2 champion. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
No.
I don't think he won like Formula 3000 or something, but yeah, he had no talent coming in, and he's just walked into an F1 seat, and it shows.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I have no time for the kid. I hope he improves at least to a respectable level, but I got no time for him.
His chances of that happening, to quote Scott Steiner, drastic go down.
Drastic go down.
He comes from a highly educated university.
Well, he doesn't.
No.
He fucking doesn't.
So, we're going to get to the driver standings after we've just had that massive rant.
No,
So-
you just had that massive rant.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, yeah, all
You
right.
feel better? You feel good?
A little bit.
Okay.
So, Max Verstappen is still leading the Drivers' Championships on 105 points in front of Lewis Hamilton on 101.
Yeah,
Sergio-
it was a stalemate.
Yeah.
Number 1 and number 2 both left
Oi,
Azerbaijan.
don't
with,
call me stale.
You are a stalemate.
Yeah, I'm
Just
yeah.
old. Yeah, no points for either of them. So the battle continues.
Sergio Perez has leapt up to third place on 69 points. That's a bit stale, mate. Lando Norris has dropped down to fourth with 66 points. Charles Leclerc has bumped up to fifth on 52 points. Valtteri Bottas is on the Great White Water Slide of nowhereness. It's sixth with 47 points. Carlos Sainz is seventh with 42 points. He hasn't changed position. Pierre Gasly has bumped up a few spots. He is eighth with 31 points. Sebastian Vettel has bumped up a few places as well with 28 points up to ninth. And then closing out the top 10 is Daniel Ricciardo, who's slumped a couple of places with 26 points.
That's it.
And then the constructors, Red Bull has extended their lead with 174 points. Mercedes has 148 points. Both teams are on 3 wins apiece. Ferrari is on 94 points. They've jumped ahead of McLaren by 2 points. McLaren is 4th on 92 points. And then we've got a small gap. By small gap, I mean a vast yawning chasm.
A small gap of 60 points,
between
roughly.
Alpha from McLaren to AlphaTauri in 5th place on 39 points. Aston Martin in 6th place with 37 points. Alpine in 7th with 25 points. Alfa Romeo, with their 1 point they got, is up to 2 points in 8th.
It's a slow and steady climb. It's a slow and steady climb.
Haas, I think the only points they should be getting should be on Mazepin's super license.
The only points they should be getting are penalty ones.
They're on 9th. I don't know why they've put them in front of the Williams. I mean, God.
George Russell will get a point eventually, and that will all be done.
And Williams are dead last, with them and Haas both on 0 points.
That's it. Next race.
So the next race, which is in 2 weeks' time apparently, is Paul Ricard.
Yes, the Emirates Grand Prix de France.
With the track that...
One corner into another.
You can tell it's a French track because it's just got colour and crappy design slapped all over its Chevy Chase.
It should just be an art museum. Hey, it's a bit of an abomination. I don't mind it as a circuit though. I'll be honest. Racing it in the game, I don't mind.
Oh
it.
yeah,
watching it on TV is a bit different.
I don't mind it in the game either.
That's right. But yeah, predictions. I mean, very curvy circuit, very aero dependent.
Well,
which I think leans towards the Red Bull.
I think the Mercedes will bounce back because it is a power circuit. So I think
you do have those 2 pretty big straights, I guess. Yeah.
So it'll be between, the usual suspects, Max and Lewis. It just depends which one of the tail gunners wants to come into the fight.
I think Sergio's probably got it.
Yeah, I think Perez will get 3rd on the podium.
I think we'll see a good one from Gasly actually.
But
I can see the AlphaTauri's doing well here.
I also think that the Ferraris and the McLarens will mop up any mess that comes along. Like, they're going to be the best.
I don't see them challenging for race wins, but I do see them somewhere.
Unless there is a cataclysmic fail at some point.
Yeah.
And it can happen. It can happen.
It can happen. The runoffs at Paul Ricard are pretty huge.
Yeah, but you've got those stupid chicanes too that come out of random places where someone can outbrake themselves or, switch their brake bias to forward and just plow into someone.
You could just follow the old track design where it's just a straight.
Which would be better, but...
we'll see. I mean, very air dependent, so I think it's a good chance for Red Bull. I think it leans towards Red Bull.
I'm going to go with Hamilton. I think Mercedes is going to win it.
For his mental state, probably.
Yeah.
Poor Diddums.
Yeah, poor Aldas, and he's crying about Lewis Hamilton.
Aldas is going to come. He's going to jump on our page and just rant about us.
Good for him.
Good.
Fuck you.
I look forward to reading it.
Yeah, I look forward to reading it and telling you to fuck off. Anyway, so we're not going to end this on a sour note. We're going to end it on a happy note. So we've got the Formula One in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
There was something else I wanted to... It's a slight spin-off from Formula One, but before we close it, I heard something about... Was it... It had to do with MotoGP.
Ah, yes. What was it?
So we had... what was the name of the rider that passed away? I'm sorry, I'm not up with the facts on this one.
Yes, that was the Swedish rider, Jason Despoir. What's his name? Can't remember his
Pinnacle
name.
of technology. We're Googling it.
Duper Square. I'm sorry I'm butchering your name, but yeah, he Moto3 rider, young Swedish rider, was clipped at Mugello over the blind crest in the back of the helmet and sadly passed away.
So we like MotoGP isn't exactly my wheelhouse, but everyone here at the P&J podcast sends their condolences to his family.
That's it. It's a motorsport family. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's Formula One or World Endurance Championship or MotoGP. It's a family.
It's never nice to see that someone passed away.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the sport,
Yeah.
It's a dangerous pastime, and we tend to forget that because safety's come such a long way.
Yeah.
We're not losing a driver a week like the old days, but still sad, still tragic. Yeah, talented young kid taken too soon. So condolences to him and the Moto3 paddock, and thoughts and prayers to his family and the well wishes and continued safety for everyone involved in motorsport.
Yeah. But on a slightly happier note, in 2 days' time, because this is on the Monday, being Australian, we get to watch the Formula One at 11 o'clock at fucking night.
Yeah, always good for your Monday morning.
Oh, it was on 10 o'clock last night. Actually, it started a little bit earlier.
Weird though. It started earlier, and I still crashed out at lap 27.
Yeah. But on Wednesday night is the Australian tradition for all you listeners outside of Australia of State of Origin, which is our NRL, Queensland versus New South Wales.
It's the Super Bowl of Rugby League, yes.
From the great state of Townsville.
The great state of Queensland, baby.
That Anastasia paid $8 million to get a game in a stadium that only holds 25,000 people.
That's all right.
We don't have decent roads, but at least we can have the State of Origin in Townsville.
Your car will be flogged and you'll come back to no wheels, but hey.
Yeah, well, Townsville's been on top of the shit town postings for 3 weeks in a row.
Yes, welcome to Townsville.
By the way, while we're at it, our amigo Shogo lives up there. Hi, Shogo. How you doing, mate?
You'll never listen to this podcast,
No.
you pussy.
He only follows Japanese sports like...
Curling. No, wait, that's Canadian. Like
curling's the greatest sport ever.
Curling's
Leave it alone.
Curling's a pretty good sport.
No, he follows that Japanese sport of roller derby, doesn't he?
It's not Japanese.
Yeah, they're not very good
The
at
Japanese
it
sport of Takashi's Castle. That's my favourite sport of all time.
Samurai Showdown. Of Street Fighter 2.
That's it. So anybody heading up to Townsville, lock your doors and enjoy Origin.
And drive safe.
And go Queensland.
And hope you enjoy your tent.
Yeah, you enjoy your $800 tent. And I hope you drove. Actually, I hope you didn't drive because your car will be in Townsville River at 10 p.m.
Yeah, but your car will end up in Townsville River even if you don't drive because they'll just come down here and pinch it and take it up there anyway.
That's what they do.
Yeah. So anyway, go Queensland. Thank you for tuning in this week. On behalf of myself and JB, we wish you a very goodbye, good night, good day.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end of this one. It was a bit of a curvy roller coaster, this one, but hope you enjoyed it anyway.
We don't really have a format, so
yeah, no. Like I say, uncensored, unfiltered, and unprofessional. You know what you're getting into. See you next time, Internet Land.
All right. Thank you and goodbye.